Welcome to Salem Pond!
Woo!
I forgot that's her name.
Yep,
Yeah,
And not the podcast.
We haven't recorded in a while, so here we are.
It's been like 4 months.
I am here. This is your host, Tanner Thurston.
Wow. Your
In-
only host? The host?
The host, the one and only.
What are we?
I've got a couple of special guests here with
Oh,
me.
jeez.
No, but I'm back from Idaho. I'm
Yeah, finally.
in studio.
In Cole's room, a.k.a. our studio.
Hey,
Our mom's basement.
this is the creator, Cole.
Oh, jeez.
What's Paul or janitor?
No. I'm not cleaning up your guys' nasty mess. I'm Paul, Tanner, and Cole.
Yes.
I'm not all three. I'm just Paul. Today, like I said, it's been like, 3 months?
It's been a hot
I think
minute.
our last one was the
Muse?
one. Yeah.
In the car?
I think we need to update on how the concert was.
Was our last one before the concert?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Wow.
Yeah.
Concert was amazing.
Oh, yeah. So let's tell a brief story about it. So we got the cheaper tickets, so we were clear up in the nosebleeds on the side of the stage. Where we get there early, walking our way slowly up there, each flight of steps getting a little more depressed. Looking down at the stage, a bunch of ants walking around.
Several miles away.
We get to the very top, and there's a curtain covering where our seat should be. And we're like, so are we sitting behind the curtain? And so there's an old lady, nice old lady up there. And Dad said, he's like, are they gonna move the curtains when the concert starts, or what's happening?
Dad showed her his gun in his pocket.
You better move those curtains.
He opened up his jacket.
And said, we're a couple miles away from anybody. Nobody will hear you. But then she was like, oh, let me see your tickets. And so Dad showed her our tickets, and she's like, okay, we're actually going to have to move you guys, and gave us 4 tickets. And we just kept walking down and down and down and ended up on the 10th row.
From the floor.
From the
Yeah.
floor, right next to the stage.
Yeah. Not like 10th row behind, like way back. Like
Yeah.
10th row pretty close.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we have been like row 2 from the back?
Yeah, we were like clear up
Yeah.
there. And then, yeah, we got down on the 10th row, and we're looking up at the poor souls. The curtain didn't block them, and they're still clear up there. Because the whole arena was basically full. And so there were just tons of people, and somehow we got lucky and ended up on the 10th.
Yeah.
And that concert blew my mind.
That was the best one yet for
Freaking
me.
amazing.
What was your favorite part? There's so many favorite parts. When the huge giant came out behind them.
I could see when they were playing Stockholm Syndrome, I saw this giant hand behind their
Resting.
stage, and I was like, is that on the TV? And it kept coming up, and I saw this skeleton robot thing rise up, and it was like a giant balloon that they were having.
Well, like the whole concert, it was like kind of a story of this thing being created. And it was this skeleton they were like reanimating to life. And that was the giant thing that appeared behind them. So like it broke out, at one point it broke out of the box, which was another one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
When they're doing their dubstep song. What's it called? Unsustainable. And the skeleton was like trying to break out of the box, like flying over the ocean.
Yeah.
And he finally broke out, and then
live.
next thing we see, he's freaking climbing over the band, and it was a huge person.
Like, massive. Like, how big was the actual robot thing?
Well, at one point when they're ending a song, Matt is going crazy on the guitar, and they lower the hand to cage him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the hand was like way bigger than him.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
it was
they had
huge.
like the torso and the head and everything. Over
And it was
the stage.
leaning over and waving around,
Yeah.
and it was freaky looking.
It
and
was
awesome.
gnashing its teeth.
Wailing and gnashing its teeth.
I think my favorite part was, I can't remember what song, but all three of them. Oh, this is gonna bug me what song it was. But all three of them were over, on the little like island thing,
Hmm.
playing the piano, and at
Oh,
the
yeah.
crescendo part, like tons of confetti came out.
Yeah.
Oh, Mercy.
Was it Mercy?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Show
They-
me mercy.
just tons, like so much confetti.
Gallons and gallons.
Yeah, more than gallons.
Gallons.
Thousands of teaspoons worth of confetti.
Yeah, just a ton. Like it was just like a huge fume, and it just kept coming.
Yeah.
When it finally stopped, it was just like there was a ton of ash in there almost. It just looked so
Crazy.
cool.
Yeah. So the concert was awesome.
Yeah, never mind. And then, of course, Walk the Moon opened for Muse. Which
Yeah.
the whole time, Paul was like, "Man, I wish there was someone better than Walk the Moon." And then they played their first song.
The
They
first song
played-
was awesome, and then it was okay from then on.
It was freaking awesome.
It was
the whole
good.
time. The first one was
We
definitely
looked
the
up-
best, but the whole thing was awesome.
The best part was when they played Kashmir.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Cashmere?
By
Yeah,
Led Zeppelin.
Oh, right.
I,
That's true. When they worked that in.
that sounds so cool live.
But they played Up to You first.
Yeah.
And it was,
He has an awesome voice. I just a lot of their
We-
music's a little too poppy. for
We
me.
looked up that song on.
It's
in
way
the
better
car.
live.
Yeah, the song is almost crap.
No! It's good.
It's
That's a-
way better live.
It's
Way
better
better.
live, but it's still good.
up to you.
Yeah.
I think he's.
He has a
gay.
good voice.
We're just really good at dancing.
You have to be gay to be good at dancing.
Oh no. He was just throwing his arms about and.
Speaking of gay singers, Bohemian Rhapsody was awesome too.
Oh
True.
yeah.
True.
We-
I finally watched that the other day.
Cole and I went to that in the theater, and it was amazing.
It
Felt like
felt
you were
like-
at the concert.
Yeah, when he's showing off his vocals at the end, I got chills.
Yeah, I got goosebumps so many times. Anyways, should we start talking about the real
Yeah.
thing
Let's
tonight?
get into it.
Because it's already been like a half an hour. Just kidding. 8
Like
minutes.
8 minutes.
Today we're going to talk about paradoxes.
Oh.
Are we?
Is
are
that
those-
is that the plural, paradoxes, or is it paradoxes?
Paradoxicals.
Paradoxicals.
See what Google has to say. Continue with your. Are we talking about all of those?
Yep.
Paradox.
Except one. I'm not going to talk about one.
Paul has a big long list of.
Top 10.
I think
Don't
it,
exaggerate.
I think it's
Paradoxi.
paradoxin.
Dot
Bride Regan.
Goosen.
plural.
Really looking it up right now. Paradox.
That's not Google. Oh, there's Google.
Paradoxics. I broke my...
Paradoxes.
Okay,
Oh,
I was right the
I
first
was
time.
wanting something fancy.
I've heard of
Okay.
those.
So,
Yes.
we're going to solve all of these
Okay.
tonight. Okay, the first one. Oh, and I just have a list of the names of them, so I'm it'll be a miracle if I remember all these.
Oh, Paul.
Because also I wrote it down like 3 months ago, and then we didn't do the podcast forever. So anyways, the first one, Paradox of the Court. So this was like some ancient Greek something or other. There's a lawyer
Oh,
and
no.
his student.
I'm already scared.
Socrates
Maybe.
and Plato?
Maybe.
Or is Plato Play-Doh the different guy? Who's the?
I just know that it's fun to play with, but not to eat.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes you can eat it.
Anyways.
Just kidding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was stupid.
Okay, paradox of the court. We got to get into it. Okay, so lawyer, Socrates, and Aristotle.
Was it Aristotle?
I have no idea. Okay,
Okay.
just who cares?
Yeah.
Teacher and student. The teacher is giving the student classes, and he says, you don't have to pay me until you win your first case. All right? So he takes all the classes, but then he decides he doesn't want to be a lawyer. So then the teacher sues him and says, so this is the teacher's argument. If I win, the court rules that you owe me the money, so you have to give me the money. If I lose, you win your first case, so you still have to give me the money. Because that was the agreement. As soon as you win your first case, you owe me the money.
Yeah.
But then the other guy argues, well, no, because if the court rules that I win, then I keep the money because I won the case. And if I lose, I keep the money because I didn't win my first case.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I don't agree with the second one. If he loses, then the court ruled against him. But like the first three,
I'm
I
already.
think work.
No, because the guy says, in the agreement it says, you don't have to pay me until you win your first case.
Yeah, but if the court rules that the guy gets to sue him, then the guy gets to sue him.
No, because he lost his first case. So he doesn't have to pay until he wins his first case.
No, yeah, I understand the preface, but
Do you?
yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I understand the teacher, both of his arguments. I understand the student's first argument, but in the second argument, if the teacher goes to court and says, "Hey, this is unfair," and the court says, "Yeah, it is unfair. He has to pay you," then he has to pay you. The original
That's what
agreement is
the
overturned.
that's what the no.
Yeah. If the court says, "Yeah, it's unfair," we're overturning that.
No, because they're going the court. They're there at court to settle the agreement. So you can't.
He's suing him.
Yeah. See, the court's not going to overturn the agreement and say, "Okay, drop the agreement. This is the new one, the new rule."
Unless they find that he was somehow in violation of the agreement.
He's not though.
Well, if he's
He
not,
took
then
the
the
classes.
court would never rule against him.
Okay, so then they don't rule against him.
Yeah,
Then
but
what?
I'm just saying.
Then what
if,
happens?
If the court somehow decides that he is in violation and they rule against him, then there's nothing he can do. I don't
But
see
according
how
to
he
his
has
agreement,
well, he's in violation of the agreement. According
how
to
is
the court,
he in a violation?
because he decided not to be a lawyer.
That was never part of the agreement.
I mean, is the agreement that simple?
Yes.
Did they sign some kind of contract?
All the contract said was, you don't have to pay me until you win your first case. It had nothing to do with being a lawyer or anything like that. He was never in violation.
If he had to pay him for quitting, then
well,
he never would have went to court.
That's why
with
contracts
him.
are so complex, is to deal with little things like that.
Okay, I think we're overthinking this.
This
This is about paradoxes, not. This is about paradoxes, not justice of the court
Okay.
and contracts.
All right. Moving on.
Yeah, next one.
Okay, so this one is the unstoppable force paradox.
Meets an immovable object.
Yeah.
Unstoppable.
Oh, well, I don't. You explain it, Mr. Smarty
I
Pants.
mean, I don't know exactly, but
That's
like,
it.
Great.
Okay, so
Batman versus the Joker.
wait, what? Oh,
In
is
the
that
Dark Knight,
they say
that's
that?
something that
Right?
the Joker says is because it's like
that's,
Batman's
the movie
been
just
pressed
got
for the last-
better.
That's why the Joker says that in the movie.
I know.
Yeah.
Cole said that movie just got better
Why?
because
I
that
don't
they
think I
added a
really-
paradox in there.
I don't
Well-
think I really paid attention to that part. I don't pay attention to a lot of things.
Well, it's basically Batman's been pressed to his ultimate limit. Like
Yeah.
they have to save the people on the boats. They have to save the hostages. And finally, him and the Joker get into this big fight, and Joker's gotten pinned down, and then Batman, as a last ditch effort, throws him over the edge. But then he randomly grabs his grappling gun and saves his life, and Joker's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you still saved me." I think this is what happens when an immovable force or unstoppable force meets an immovable object. I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
But how?
then he
But that
said-
doesn't make any sense, though.
Why?
How can an unstoppable force and an immovable object? What would happen? No, it doesn't make sense.
No.
So what Joker said doesn't make sense.
No, well, he's saying it as a what's the word? Dang it. Someone help me out.
I don't know.
As a
Analogy?
yes, an analogy. He's not actually saying this is a paradox.
Wow.
He's just saying this is
But if he says we're destined to do this forever, do what forever?
Fight.
continue to fight him,
And
continue to
with
terrorize
no
him,
one
and
winning.
continue to not-
But who? If it's an unstoppable force and an unmovable object, that
well,
doesn't
again,
make sense.
it's an analogy. They're not actually physically unstoppable forces and immovable objects.
He's just
well, then
finding
it's
a
a horrible
fault.
analogy.
Well, sorry.
Hey, there's nothing horrible about the Joker. Except that he
That
kills
stupid
people.
analogy.
Except
What?
that he kills people.
Why are you both bundled up?
Because it's freezing
It's
down
not
here.
even cold. Paul's wrapped in this big blanket. Cole's got his robe on and a beanie. I'm down here. in
Well,
some
Cole's
shorts
just
and a
trying to be a hipster Hugh Hefner.
t-shirt.
Guys, we are hipsters. We discovered Imagine Dragons and 21 Pilots.
Before anybody knew who they were.
It's true, actually. So,
Well, I don't know about Imagine Dragons.
well,
Yeah, we did.
But definitely 21. Yeah, we did.
we did 21 Pilots. Anyways,
So,
tell all you bandwagons out there.
hey, I have a paradox.
If you say one on my list, I will punch you right in the face.
What would happen
Oh, no.
if,
If Pinocchio.
Pinocchio?
Stop! It's
Okay.
on the list.
Okay.
Oh,
All right, let's. That
'Kay.
one's a paradox because that's
Impossible.
Impossible. There's no such thing as either of those, and therefore
that's not.
there's no
okay.
such thing as an unstoppable force or an immovable object. Name one of either of those.
God.
And
What is he? Which one?
Either. Whichever one he
Okay,
wants.
What's the opposing one that he comes in contact
Satan.
with?
No, I'm just kidding.
Satan's
Definitely
gonna
not.
lose, Paul. I think
Okay.
You might need to brush up on some doctrine.
Okay, Galileo's infinite paradox.
Galileo?
Galileo's infinite paradox. Okay, I'm trying to remember this one.
Oh.
I think I got it.
we're only on number 3 of 11.
Well, we're not doing one of those because it's stupid.
Okay.
Okay,
You sure?
yeah. Galileo. Okay, so I think this one is saying, so you have a set of numbers, just one digit at a time,
Yeah.
right? And then you have a set of squares of those numbers.
Like 2 squared is 4, 4 squared is 16,
Yeah, so
16 squared is something.
yeah, or square roots.
Square roots?
Yeah,
So
of those
16
numbers.
Square root of 16 is 4.
Something
square
like
root of
that.
4 is
Okay.
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the two sets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Logically, the set with all of the numbers is bigger than the set with just the square roots, right?
Sure, yeah. Because it skips over
Yeah,
A lot
because
of
it's like
numbers.
2, 4,
16,
16. Yeah, whatever.
etc.
Yeah.
Etc.
But that's not true. They have the same. They're equal.
Are they equal?
Yeah,
Well, okay, yeah.
because they're infinite.
That's true.
So,
Infinity is equal to infinity. Okay. Yeah.
but how does that make sense, Cole?
But it doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I missed all of that.
Oh my gosh. Cool.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
attention.
so one set has all of the numbers, right?
Yes.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Yeah.
and so on. And -1, -2, -3, whatever. This side has only squared. So like 2, 4, 16, 32, whatever.
Yeah, 32. That's
Oh.
double, Paul.
And they have the same amount of numbers?
Yeah, they have
Wow,
both sets have the
that's
same
a
amount because they're infinite. There's no end to either of them.
Oh, I
256
don't like that.
16.
That's a real
Blows
paradox.
my mind.
Yeah.
That one's actually real. Why are we not ceasing to
'Cause
exist?
It skips over. We haven't gotten to
Where are we?
existence yet.
Who are we?
Oh.
Cole's now levitating in the room and
I-
floating around.
I thought I was in a paradox at the Muse concert. To be
We are
honest,
the-
when
we're in the twilight
when
zone
they
here.
unplugged the arcade and all the lights went off.
So that one's just crazy.
Yeah.
That one is literally what would like terrify me when I was a kid, and I'd go into mom and dad's room crying, thinking about infinity,
Oh, yeah.
I thought
thinking about eternity.
I thought you were talking about infinite number systems.
No,
I'm
no.
like, why is that so scary?
I'm like, Dad, I've been thinking about numbers again. No.
eternity.
Yeah.
don't
like,
make me laugh. My stomach
We've
hurts.
always existed and we always will exist. What the freak?
According to our belief system, for those our
But even then,
our
like,
millions of listeners who don't know what Mormonism is.
Millions
it's
and
Church
billions
of
of
Jesus
listeners.
Christ of
Excuse
Latter-day
me.
Saints.
Well, Mormonism is the term for studying our religion.
no.
Yes?
Not anymore. Okay. But, anyways, that would also be freaky. What other religions believe is like, I think most religions believe in an afterlife, right? But like, people that just think you die and that's it, like that's even freakier.
True. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I could get it. That'd be nice. It's pretty much what you experience
What do you mean
when
nice?
you
Like
go
you're
to
not
sleep.
you're not
You
just
don't-
experiencing nothing. You don't exist.
Like you're not experiencing. You're just not experiencing.
You,
Isn't
your
that-
soul and your conscious have an expiration date. After that, no more you.
There's no thoughts, nothing.
Isn't that the same as having a dreamless sleep?
No.
No, that's you're done.
You're still existing when you're when you're sleeping.
You're just
But
gone.
your mind's in that same state.
Your mind is still
Working.
It's
Jinx.
you're still experiencing the same thing
No.
as not
you-
existing.
No, because you're not experiencing
You're
anything because you don't exist.
You're experiencing non-experiences.
Cool.
Your body, your consciousness isn't the same, but your subconscious, your body is still living and doing
Yeah.
its thing.
still receiving input through your senses.
Okay, this is.
Did you guys know that your gut has like millions more neurons than your actual brain and brainstem? It's called the endo something nervous system. And that's where like gut reaction comes from and like gut instinct.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I thought those were just
No.
like terms. I didn't think that was an actual.
No, it's a real thing.
No.
Like and if you think about it, like, yeah, your brain is what controls thoughts, but who says your gut can't also think for itself and like
Which is
give your
true,
body
'cause
impulses?
Your spine freaking
Yeah.
makes decisions for you.
Is that
All it
why,
is neurons. And
Yeah.
so like, and your gut has like way more neurons than your brain.
Is that
and
why when
brainstem.
you get anxious, like your stomach starts cramping and stuff? Or-
Probably.
That would
That
make
so
sense.
much stuff is connected to your gut.
Get butterflies.
Yeah.
I
Is that
like-
cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, fear of eternity is called apeirophobia.
No, that's what I have.
What's the name of that phobia where you're afraid of being chased around a kitchen table by two wolves while wearing socks on a newly waxed floor?
I don't know. Get out your Far Side gallery.
All right, should we go on?
Yeah, keep going.
The ship of Theseus paradox.
All right.
Have you heard of this one?
No.
So you have a ship
Yes.
of Theseus. Just kidding. It doesn't have to be. Okay. You have a ship. Over time, you replace different blocks of wood and you put those blocks of wood in
I've
a
heard this.
woodshed, right? So you just keep replacing. You take a piece of wood off, put a new piece of
plank.
wood on, plank,
Replace.
and just keep doing that. until eventually you replace all of the wood, but it's still the same ship, right?
Yeah.
But then you take all the wood that you've taken from the original ship and create a ship. Which one is the original ship? Which one, Cole?
I don't know.
Which one?
Answer it.
The,
What do you think?
The middle.
The middle?
Just kidding. I don't know.
I think, personally, I think neither of them are the original ship anymore. I think the ship ceases to exist in its original.
What, after one plank
Um,
is replaced? When does it change to
I
from
think-
existing to not existing?
yeah.
Exactly.
Honestly, I would say, because if you do steps to preserve something, I think that's different from replacing damaged parts of it. If you replace any damaged part of something, it no longer is exactly its
So what
original
about
form.
us? Every time a skin cell dies
Well, we have.
and we replace it,
I would
we're
define
not
us
our-
as our consciousness and our spirits.
so our bodies are never our original bodies.
No. Do you think you're your original baby self?
Yeah?
I would disagree with that.
So basically what you're saying is as soon as you replace it, like stuff can get damaged and it's still the original, but as soon as you put a new piece on, it is no longer the original. And even if you save every single piece and build the exact same ship, it's not the original.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
that hurts.
Is your brain imploding right
Yeah.
now?
You know, I know this is off topic, but have you guys ever thought it's crazy that our bodies can self-repair itself?
Yeah.
That
Bodies
is
are
insane.
crazy. All right. The omnipotence paradox. Okay, this is a question for you, Cole.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Can God create something so heavy he can't lift it?
I've heard this before. I think I've heard it in a talk or something.
Oh.
Can he?
Oh.
He can do everything, right? But then if he creates something he can't lift, then he can't do something.
I need to pray about this.
What do you think, Tanner?
I don't think he can create something so heavy he can't lift. Well,
So he can't do everything.
no. I don't think he can anyways. I
Yeah.
think our
I think he's
definition
bound
of
by
God-
laws of
Yeah.
physics.
Yeah. I think, for instance, creating and destroying matter, I don't think God can do that. I think he recycles unused or
Unorganized,
unorganized
matter.
matter.
Yeah, I think I agree with that
So.
too.
There's certain laws he's bound by,
Yeah.
including that. Well, if he can create something, because we can create things that we can't lift, so I don't know. Either one might be correct, but
So,
Either way,
but
he's not
you're
omnipotent.
what you're saying is he's not omnipotent.
not in that way, no.
All right, someone's gonna get struck down tonight. Okay, the unexpected hanging paradox. All right, this one's gonna be hard to remember exactly.
I thought you were gonna say explain. I was like, I already give up.
Okay, here we go. There's a guy set to hang, and the jail person, what are they called? Warden, said,
Warden? Yeah, that's what they're called.
Thank you, Cole.
so he says, all right, you're going to be hung next week, but it'll be a surprise, and it'll happen sometime next week, for sure. All right. So then the guy in the jail is like, well, if it's going to be a surprise, then it can't be Saturday. Because if it hasn't happened by Friday, I know it's going to be Saturday. So it won't be a surprise. Right?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
But then, following that logic, it can't be Friday either.
Friday.
Because if it hasn't happened by Thursday, then... Oh, wait, what is it?
Yeah.
Is
If
that
it
right?
hasn't happened by Thursday, then it would have to be Friday.
because it can't be Saturday.
Oh my
It can't be
gosh,
Saturday.
that's
So
oh
then-
my gosh.
Yeah,
I
so
already
then
get
following that, if it hasn't happened by Wednesday, it can't be Thursday because it can't be Friday or Saturday.
Mhm.
So it can't be Thursday either. So basically he did that every day of the week and he's like, all right, it's not going to happen until the guy knocked on his door Wednesday at noon and hung him.
Wednesday at noon.
And it was a surprise.
Oh, well, he just spent so much time thinking about it. He was like, he just reasoned to himself that he's never going to be hanged and that he was hung.
Yeah. So it surprised himself, but then, so how does that work? How can he be
oh
surprised?
my gosh, that just made things so
mean-
much worse.
Because, I mean,
So the jailer was right the whole time.
yeah.
The warden.
The warden. He was right the whole time. So basically all that is that logically it should make sense what he says. The reason it's a paradox is because like what the guy says makes sense, but in reality it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
I think this is our best podcast.
Does it?
Which I think, yeah, like, if he over-reasoned it, either that or if he just hadn't thought about it at all, would have been surprised. If he'd just been like, I don't know, would have been surprised anyway.
These
He's just an idiot.
these paradoxes.
He's just an idiot. That's the conclusion. Okay.
These paradoxes are real, though. Why are we not ceasing to exist?
Oh, Cole started floating again. All right, the grandfather paradox. I think this is the one where a guy goes back in time and kills his grandfather.
Oh,
Well, that's why time travel's impossible. At
Yeah.
least forward time travel.
I always
Or
thought,
backwards time travel, I mean.
yeah, because if you go back to change something, then that's how something's always been, so you would never feel the need to go back to change it.
No, but if you go back and kill your grandfather, how are you killing him?
Yeah,
What?
I get
If
that.
you go back to kill your grandfather, right?
then you would.
How would you kill your grandfather if you're from the future?
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's the
impossible.
paradox.
Well, I know. I've thought about time a lot. Dad and I used to have intense debates about time travel when we watched Back to the
Well,
Future.
I have a solution for this one.
Okay,
And I think Back to the Future actually talks about it. It creates an alternate timeline.
sure. But then, does the alternate timeline version of you go back? And if so, well, no, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it does.
If you create an alternate timeline,
Then you still have a timeline where your grandfather lives.
mhm.
But now you have one where you killed your grandfather, so you don't exist in the other timeline.
yeah,
You only exist in the
so
original
then you
one.
can't go back and kill your grandfather because you don't exist.
You can... What if my brain literally exploded?
That's why backwards
That's the
time
thing.
travel doesn't work at all. It's just,
But will it work when we die?
what do you mean? Will it work? No, it never works.
I think I like on Interstellar though, how like you can
Well, yeah.
witness stuff, you just can't change. Well, he does
Oh.
change it though.
True.
I think he changed the future.
Spoilers for those of you who haven't seen.
Yeah,
Interstellar.
I love
If you haven't seen
those-
Interstellar, then just you might as well give up on life.
You know,
It's been out for.
you
a
know
few years
what
now.
the song Iron Man is about by Black Sabbath?
Yeah,
That's
that's really cool, actually.
It still kind of pisses me off though.
What?
Which
It's where he goes to the future and he sees disaster happening and he comes back and is trying to warn people, but they're ignoring him, and it makes him so mad that he's
Well,
the one who made
yeah,
the
that's the thing is-
disaster happen.
the time.
What started
The time travel itself it turned him into an Iron Man, and since he was such a freak, everyone just didn't listen to him, and so then he got so mad that he started.
But
killing everyone.
what started that though?
What do you mean?
What started the disaster besides witnessing the disaster already happening?
Well,
Yeah.
that's the only way reverse time travel works. And this is how Harry Potter does it, actually, and this is why.
Oh, Harry Potter is the worst at time traveling.
What are you talking about? Harry Potter time travel is literally the only way time travel works. Well, except for, spoiler alert,
Oh no!
but the Cursed Child just completely ruined everything.
That's true.
But
Because
the
they
third-
came back
The
to
third
the
Harry
future.
Potter is like the only way in any sort of fiction that time travel holds up. And there's multiple...
Why?
Because Harry going
They
back
already
in
did
time
it,
always
right?
existed. There's no alternate timelines.
Exactly, but that doesn't make sense because what would start that? Like, you would have to
Yeah.
know what's going to happen in the future in order. It just doesn't make sense at all.
Well, also, time travel backwards is impossible.
So
But...
you think?
No, that's...
What about Benjamin Button? Just
I've
kidding. He
never
didn't even
seen-
travel. He just started as an old man or something.
Yeah.
I have that
That was the longest, most boring movie. We
Really?
had to watch it in like child development or something.
Really?
In college. Yeah,
That's-
like a weird choice.
Wait, how
Yeah.
long is it?
like 8 hours. No, I don't
No,
know.
it's not.
It's like 3 probably.
That's
Um,
like the most pointless movie. I'm sorry, but if something ends sad, what's the point?
Well,
Because
I
I mean,
haven't seen it.
if it's a true
Guys.
story, I get it. But like, you're leading up,
Paul,
hoping it's gonna end
Paul,
happy.
it
and
ends as
no,
him-
Paul.
being a
no,
little baby.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter is
He was back
literally
in
the
the
only
womb.
way that reverse time travel is even conceivable. But that doesn't make sense, like you're saying, because nothing
Like, what would
Starts-
start that process?
the backwards time travel.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is nothing needs to start it because that's just the timeline that they're on. It always works that way.
The only way that would work is if everything was predestined.
True. And
We didn't have
predestination.
free agency or anything.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Okay.
Mind blown. The Fletcher's paradox. Do you know what a Fletcher is, Cole?
no.
An arrow person, an archer.
Oh, is this the story about the
Just kidding.
father that shot the apple off his boy's head?
Yes.
Is it really?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so the laws of motion define motion for me.
Movement? I don't know.
Movement, right?
Okay.
Okay. This
Define-
paradox states that motion doesn't exist.
Why?
Because, so this is an arrow, right?
I'm already
So someone
shaking.
shoots an arrow.
Mhm.
If you pause that arrow, or if you look at one specific instant in time, right?
Mhm.
The arrow's not moving.
Mhm.
So how can, if you have one instant of time where the arrow's not moving, so motion doesn't exist in that little
Mhm.
moment,
Yeah.
why would it exist if you multiply that moment? So like any moment you look at, motion doesn't exist. So who says motion exists when you look at all the moments?
You're not
It's the-
thinking fourth
I've thought about this.
dimensionally.
Yeah, it's the fourth dimension. Time and movement are exactly the same thing.
What?
Because the first dimension is just like, what, a string. Second dimension is two-dimensional, like a paper, although just absolutely no third dimension at all. And third dimension obviously is us with
Yeah.
you know, X, Y, and Z
Yeah.
coordinates. The fourth dimension is time, which is when those materials move.
Wait, did you say the XYZ coordinates?
Yeah, I'm talking about like on a graph.
Oh, I thought you were using the phrase that means examine your zipper.
No, oh my gosh,
XYZ PDQ.
what's PDQ?
Pretty darn quick.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm talking about on a graph. There's X coordinates and
Yeah.
Y coordinates, which is
Yeah.
a square. A Z coordinate makes it three-dimensional. The fourth dimension is time, which is also when those things move. Movement and time are the same thing.
I like that principle.
Well, isn't
So
Harry the
if-
smartest person in the world?
If you pause a moment in time, then you take away the fourth dimension, which is movement and time.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, you've solved that one. The Epimenides
We're off to a good
paradox,
start.
or the Liar's paradox, or Pinocchio.
Oh.
Here you go, Cole. Say it.
Explain it.
What would happen if Pinocchio said, "My nose will now grow"?
Yeah. What would happen?
Because if he says my nose will now grow,
He
and
can't
it doesn't
command
grow,
it.
then it's a lie.
Hold on.
But if it's a lie, then his nose will grow. But if his nose grows, then he's not lying, which means it shouldn't grow.
Look up the question on Google.
Yes.
I think it's phrased as "my nose may now grow," which makes a big difference or something. And Google actually gives a pretty dang good
Like,
answer.
are you Google or Siri?
Google.
Okay.
Are they not the same? Are they not
No,
connected?
they're not the same.
Wow.
Grow.
Is there a Siri app where you can type the question?
Pinocchio paradox came up. Google not saying anything. I'm gonna try Siri. 'Cause you might look
It brought it on Google and it had a little picture of Pinocchio and
Apple's gonna
What
copyright
would
this
happen
video
if-
or podcast.
Oh shoot! What would happen if Pinocchio said, "My nose may now grow"?
Well, that's not the paradox.
I found this on the web.
Nope, nothing happened.
Wow,
Siri
Cole,
doesn't know.
lying.
Why?
It brought
Oh,
up
Cole's nose
something
is
and
growing.
it
It
said
brought up
something
Wikipedia that
about
says the Pinocchio paradox.
it says something about how like it depends on what he said before and
People also ask, "What is the symptom of nose cancer?"
The other
Anyways.
thing is, I think the original statement was, this statement is false.
Yeah.
Is the statement false? Because if it is, then the statement's true.
Cool.
But then if the statement's true, then it's not.
oh.
It's false then.
Oh, cool.
Why are you
But if
looking
it's
at
false,
me?
then it's true. But if it's true, it's false. But if it's false, it's true. But if it's true, it's false.
Our
Did I
mom's
sound like Willy
Mom and
Wonka
Dad.
going through the tunnel?
Yeah. Our mom's gonna be like, "What is going on?"
Come barging down here.
Um.
Anyways.
Oh, this one's kind of stupid to end it. Wow.
Oh.
The Sorites paradox, or pile of sand. So you have a pile of sand, right?
Yeah.
You take a grain off. Is it still a pile of sand?
Yeah.
You take another grain off. Is it still a pile of sand?
Yeah.
You take another grain off. Is it still a pile of sand?
Yeah.
And you keep going and keep going and keep going until you have one grain.
No.
So now it's not a pile of sand?
No.
What if you had 2 grains? Is it a pile of sand?
No.
So
I mean-
when is the point where it goes from being a pile to not?
Until it reaches to where it's flat on your hand,
Well, you can spread them out until they're all flat.
Yeah.
If you have a big
and
enough
then
grain.
they are what? Okay.
What if you balance 3 in a little triangle? Are you gonna? Is that a pile of sand? A pile's not an exact unit of measurement, and so I think it's just up to the discretion of whoever's describing it as a pile of sand.
I thought a paradox.
But
would
when,
be
if
these-
you slowly do that, when does it turn from a pile to not a pile?
Again, it's not an exact number, so there's no. It's just someone has to look at the pile and say that's a pile or that's not a pile.
But if you're the one doing it,
Well, if I'm the one, I don't know. I need to look at the sand. I don't know.
when does it become not a pile?
Oh no.
I don't know.
Oh.
Well, that's it.
Cool. Another paradoxes.
Where, if pizzas are round, why are they in square boxes?
That's the biggest paradox of them all.
If Wendy's buns are circle, why do they have square patties?
Oh my gosh! My mind!
I thought you were gonna. I don't know why Dennis Miller came to my mind when he brought up Wendy's or something. I think it was.
Dennis Miller, the old host of, or anchor for Weekend Update
Yeah.
on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just had the memory of him say how Dr. Pepper bought 7-Up and Coke bought something. And
This material is not ours. It belongs to Saturday Night Live. Okay, continue.
And that names off
geez.
some other company that bought the whole water supply of North America.
It was like Coke bought Dr. Pepper, and Pepsi bought Sprite, and as a big surprise, what are they called?
I've never heard of them.
I have. It's like the third, like slightly knockoff. Oh, Royal, something, Crown Royal or something like that. The other cola drink bought the entire water supply of North America. But yeah, good place to end.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know. Do you
Here's a fact. Scientists have found a new term called déjà vu, which is as close to deja vu as it gets. It's the eerie feeling you get when you walk into a room and have a strange feeling that you've never been there before.
Again, Saturday Night Live. That material does not belong to us.
I don't think they'll care.
If a man who is born blind
Oh no.
learns to distinguish between a sphere and a cube by touching them, and one day regains his sight, would he be able to tell which of the objects placed in front of him is a sphere and a cube only by looking at them?
If that's the absolute first thing he sees when he opens his eyes, maybe, I don't know. Like if you have any kind of experience from when your eyes open to when you look at the sphere and the cube, then you got some kind of depth perception where you can adjust or judge.
So he's born blind.
Yeah. But I'm
He
talking
has
about when
no
he
idea.
regains his sight, if there's any period of time in between regaining his sight, or gaining his sight, I guess, and looking at the cube and the sphere, then like he'll have some kind of depth perception to know how his vision works. So I think then he would be able to. But if
Well, no, it has nothing to do with the depth perception.
well, not depth perception, but just experience
How
of
things
vision.
are.
Yeah.
He's
So
shaping
if
it in his
if
mind.
it's his
No.
first time seeing anything and he opens his eyes,
And he
He's
hasn't
just in a-
touched anything
hasn't touched anything
while
he's
he
in a
can see.
blank room with just a sphere and just a cube.
Actually, yeah. I'm thinking, how would he be able to picture things, though, in his head?
He can't.
That's the thing, is how do blind people picture things? How do deaf people picture sound?
They
I
just,
was wondering, how do people read when a deaf person reads? What's it like in their head?
True. Do they? Because they don't have a voice.
Yeah, they don't know how words sound.
So
What the?
we need to get a deaf person and a blind person. Well, maybe not the deaf person. They probably wouldn't be great for a podcast, but a blind person.
He'll be tapping in Morse.
Morse code. We could bring an interpreter.
Okay. You use a teleporter to get to Mars, and this device maps every particle that is you, creating an exact replica. Wait, what the freak?
Are you just looking?
Yeah,
Looking
there's a
up
list
paradoxes?
right now I'm looking at.
This is the most exciting podcast. Or segment.
Oh, this is like the same as the ship one. A nearsighted farmer anxiously asked the milkman whether he'd seen a cow on his rounds because his cow was missing. The milkman pointed further down the road and told the farmer, "Don't worry, she's over there in that field." The farmer squinted and saw a black and white shape near some trees in the middle of the field and thanked the milkman in relief. Meanwhile, as the milkman passed the field, he took another look and noticed that the cow was actually hidden by high grass. What he'd pointed out to the farmer were black and white sheets hanging in a tree. Even though the cow was in the field, was the milkman correct when he'd said he knew it was there? What?
Like,
That
he
was the
lying or
dumbest
not?
thing. Yeah.
Which I had a debate with one of my companions on my mission about
When it's
what a lie was. I think it's if you knowingly
tenor
say something that's not.
was
Yes.
okay.
If it was knowingly, like if you knowingly give false information, that's how I would define a lie. But he defined it as if you give any information that's incorrect, whether you know it's incorrect or not.
No, that's not lying, because you don't know.
That's what I said.
You thought you were telling the truth.
That was my.
I thought he was saying
But is it a lie, though? Even if you think you're telling the truth, it's not the truth, so what is it? What is it?
I don't know.
I thought you were gonna say he said something like, if you keep your mouth shut, then you're not lying about staying up late or something.
What?
Like, how if you don't want to say a lie to someone, then you just, or when being dishonest, if you do something you weren't supposed to do, you just don't say that you did that, and you're not being dishonest.
Which, yeah, that's
I
the
think
justification they have in movies all the time. Is
I
like,
think that's
just don't say anything and it won't be a lie. And
Yeah.
It's like, well,
it's being dishonest
not-
because you're leading them to believe
Yeah.
otherwise.
if you convey any kind of message by saying something, by not saying something, by acting a certain way, and you know they're going to receive this message when that message isn't true, then that's a lie. That's
You're a liar.
not. Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Should we end this?
Yeah, what time is it? On
Past 10.
I mean, on our.
Oh. 51 minutes.
It's about around there.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
All right. Hold on. I want to see the number one.
Oh, Paul.
Are you just scrolling?
Yeah.
On what site is this?
I don't know.
What do you mean, what's that? Oh,
Cracked?
what site?
Cracked?
I actually
Oh,
like Cracked. They've got
I
some good
I
stuff.
thought you just said crack.
Crack cocaine.
Yeah.
Cole, have you ever done drugs?
Yeah, I've taken prescription pills a lot. And
So
In
those
a way
are,
that wasn't prescribed by the doctor?
Here's a paradox that Cole's been experiencing this whole time. The floating man problem.
Ooh.
Imagine
Oh, here he goes again.
Oh, he's floating. Imagine a man is created in total sensory deprivation. This is kind of the same thing, except it goes even further
Mhm.
when we were talking about the blind guy. Okay. Total sensory deprivation. He cannot see, hear, taste, smell, or touch. Can he know that he exists?
I think so.
Just from consciousness, thoughts?
can he
or what?
feel?
Yeah, I
can
think-
he feel emotion?
But what, like,
Yeah, you can feel emotion. You can have thoughts even if you don't.
Oh, does he
Have
know?
any
Is he
input.
aware that that is something though?
Yeah, he's aware.
Like in his, not just his subconscious, like in
No, his conscious mind.
but he hasn't experienced.
Oh, Paul. Oh, no.
He hasn't experienced any of the senses.
Yeah.
So there, I think the difference between that, like the way they're thinking and us, is that. So it also says, Avicenna, 10th century AD is who thought of this. He assumed yes, which he figured proved the existence of a soul. So that's kind of our same line of
Ooh.
thinking.
I like
But
that.
later philosophers aren't so sure. But later philosophers are idiots.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you're saying. Like, we have souls, we have consciousness,
Mhm.
even if we don't, even if we didn't have any senses at all,
Mhm.
we would still be aware of our existence
Yeah.
as intelligences.
That's a cool logical way to reason that we have souls.
Yeah.
religion stuff. I have one that came to me while you were describing that.
Okay.
Kind of. It's not really a paradox, but so as far as like science is concerned, the makeup of any individual person and their consciousness is determined by two things: nature and nurture, right?
Yeah.
Nature being
Wait, this determines our consciousness? Is that what you said?
just like who we are, the decisions we make.
Yeah. Our
Everything.
behavior is controlled by those.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Just everything we choose and decide, and
Yeah.
everything like that. It's determined by nature and nurture. Nature being,
Genetics and
genetics, how we're just
are
our
wired.
genes, our DNA, etc.
Cole is rolling his eyes over there.
Nurture being how we're raised and what environment and what experiences we have.
Yeah.
So the problem, or not the problem, but the question is, identical twins have identical DNA, identical genes,
Yeah.
everything. If they like experience the exact same things from birth, like let's say, well, I guess they receive different amount of nutrients in the womb, which would be
Like if
considered
somehow
different
it was
nurture, but
possible that
if
they
somehow
could
it's possible that
experience
they
the
could
exact
experience the exact same thing, and somehow they both came out of, I don't know, let's say they grew up their whole lives in identical rooms or something. If they came out of those rooms at 16, would they be
the same
the
person.
same person, make the exact same decisions in everything?
No,
Why?
because we have individual souls.
Yeah. But that was something that my psychology teacher talked about when he was
Yeah.
explaining nature versus nurture. Is he's like, what if we took two twins right out of the womb and put them in barrels and let them grow up in there for a little bit?
And
And
Would
then
they
they came
make-
out, would they be the same? And we were all like, I don't know, would they? But yeah, we all have souls. So
did you
We
raise
all
your
do
hand
that.
and preach that, and he
No.
smacked you with a
It's-
ruler and put on those long
if
cone
anyone in the
hats
class actually
sitting on a
cared to
stool?
think about it, then the majority of the class was members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So they would all probably come to the same conclusion. But yeah, just something to think about.
Okay.
Kind of cool.
Okay, let's end this.
I think Cole has been done for like half an hour.
Comes into him. Wait,
His
what were-
mind
what
is
were we talking
blown.
about?
His mind's mush.
Creator.
Which just contemplating eternity is crazy.
Stop. I'm not going to be able to sleep
Just
tonight.
going on
Stop.
forever.
Okay, we're done.
Always.
Till next time on Salem Pond.
You mean in Salem Pond?
In Salem Pond.
We're in the pond right now.
Yeah. We're always in the pond.
Welcome
And
to
the
the
muck-
pond.
In the mucky.
Disgusting.
Jump right in.
Oh my god.
The water's
Gonna
fine.
come out with 3 eyes or something.
Oh yeah, we never decided on a
Oh, did we not?
ending to our podcast.
Our bad.
Liberty,
swim
liberty,
with
liberty.
Comes to him.
Copyright. Okay, we'll see you next. Here, we'll talk to you next time. Talk at you next time. All right. Bye.